Lay. Sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Kane is in the building.
Yeah. Alright, already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the sun? Just remember when you come up, the show goes on. Alright, already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the sun? Just remember when you come up, the show goes on.
Have you ever had the feeling that you was being had? Don't that shit that make you mad? They treat you like a slave, put chains all on your soul and put whips up on your back. They be lying through they teeth, hope you slip up off your path. I don't switch up, I just laugh, put my kicks up on they desk, unaffected by they threats. Then get busy on they. See, that's how that shit down.
What's up, everybody? Overseas Famous Podcast coming to you today. Celebrating a little early for St. Patrick's Day, but it's St. Patrick's Day weekend, and we're going to rock and roll. So we have with us Steve Vasturia, great player, obviously, in the South Jersey area, also credible player at Notre Dame, and now playing basketball at Lithuania. So, Steve, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Happy to be here, and I wish I wore my green. I have a ton of green, but wish I joined you guys with that.
Well, you know, Steve, on the website, you can get this awesome overseas famous gear, and we're running a promotion of 20% off right now. Just saying.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Have me on again, and I'll be wearing that.
So, Steve, it is funny because I feel like there's always going to be that synonymous thing with Notre Dame and, St. Patrick's Day. I feel like I roomed with Matt Carroll, a Notre Dame player, and we used to kind of say that. I used to say that to him. I'm like, let's go, drink Guinness, and he's just like, well, he's like, that's cool. I went to Notre Dame, but it's not like I'm like a hardcore Irish human being. Yeah. Like I just went to school there. So I always it was weird. Do you ever get that with Notre Dame? Just everyone's just like, oh, hey, you must be Irish. And you're just like, well.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me especially, I kind of fit the bill pretty good, white kid with freckles and, Catholic kid. But, I mean, Vastoria's got the Italian last name. Mm-hmm. But especially at Notre Dame when, I mean, it's more fun to get up for St. Paddy's Day when there's a million Irish bars and pubs all around, the town. So I was all about embracing that part of it for sure, which I think most people are.
Yeah, I think so too. I think St. Paddy's Day is it's one of those holidays. We always do specials for holidays. So this is the quote unquote St. Patrick's Day special.
Love it.
Yeah. So
and it goes at a perfect time with, basketball fans. And, we have Selection Sunday this weekend, and you can go to the bar. I mean, at least now sit at home and watch hoops all day. And it's it turns into a pretty good week, however you want to celebrate it.
It's pretty cool to think, especially you. I mean, the tournament's such an ideal, iconic thing in our culture, and to do what you've done specifically in the tournament. I mean, you've hit big shot after big shot. You've been kind of keep on pushing your team further and further, and you were the man. It was a lot of fun to watch that. We kind of talked a little bit about how we knew each other through other people. But because you represented Medford, you represented South Jersey, everyone in this area was rooting for you. So it was cool. So you have your own kind of, unique expertise on the tournament. So when you look back and you watch the tournament, do all those memories come flooding back? Are you just like, I love what I'm doing now, but shit, it would be awesome to go back?
Yeah, I think what you said there, I mean, I don't know about other players, but I think the best time playing for me, for sure, is in college. I mean, I've had great experiences so far, overseas, and had great teammates and whatnot. But I mean, playing in the tournament in March, it really, I don't know, it doesn't get much better than that. As a kid for me, and I'm sure kids growing up, I mean, watching the tournament is everything. And then all of a sudden you get to play in it. It was incredible. And watching it now is just like, gosh, like you said, so many memories. And my freshman year, we didn't make the tournament. So
Mm.
I remember that feeling of, we lost, I think, first or second day of the ACC tournament. So we were done, and
Mhm.
then watched, I was sitting on my couch enjoying St. Patrick's Day, but not enjoying it because, we weren't in the tournament. So I think having that first year and then, not wanting to have that feeling again, not just me, but, my teammates and people around the program, that kind of made us, want it a little bit more. But now playing in the tournament was the best. And it's just, to win one game, let alone go on a little bit of a run was, obviously memories I'll have for my life for sure.
Super cool. Do you have just when you go to South Bend, is it just an instant pass? People just are just like, Steve, here. Do you get that? Do you get that? Royal treatment when you get back to South Bend, or people are just like,
Oh
yep.
man. Well, truthfully, I haven't been back because, as you know, I've, playing, you
Yeah.
leave. I think every year I've left in August or, even this year a little earlier. So, that's one of the worst parts of this job is not going back for the football games or, so I would like to believe I would get that treatment, but I'm definitely not on that level of the other guys. Um, so I think hopefully in the future, gosh, that definitely will have forgotten about me by then. But um, that's one thing when I see all my buddies going back for, USC game or home football games. I'm like, gosh, I'm sitting here watching the game at 3 a.m. I'm like, yeah, that's where I need to be.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to those. I remember the Super Bowl. I remember I watched like football used to be when I was in Australia. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Like the day it was like a one, and it was just so odd to me. I would wake up at like 7 in the morning to watch an Eagles game. I was like, there's just something off with this. And that was before, you can stream everything and just get it. But it's
Right. Cause
crazy.
that's a full day, right?
Yeah.
That's a tough, now, especially, Eagles, when they play at 1, like it works out okay. You get the like 7 or 8 o'clock game here. The past couple of years, at least when they were playing well, they'd have so many primetime games, and I'd look at the schedule and it came out, and I'm like, God, okay. So what day am I going to be staying up till 4 a.m. to watch these games? And but as a fan, it's no question you have to.
Who's at Notre Dame? Who has carte blanche? Like who's the football or basketball? Is it still football? They just kind of who has that? You walk around campus, or is it both? You walk around campus. I remember at Monmouth, we were kind of the shit because all the other sports were kind of Division II. We were really the only Division I, so everyone was like, "Whoa." Do you kind of have that at Notre Dame, or is the football team still just kind of stealing all your thunder?
Yeah, it's football is king there, 100%. Especially recently, they've been very good. So they kind of, I would say, ruled the town. I think when we were there, we were very good. So people recognize the team, and I think they kind of started to rally around the team, and games were sold out because in the past and even now, I wouldn't say the stadium is the best for fans and watching and everything, but football is kind of number one, and it probably will always be like that. The amount of attention and money that they bring in, and I was their biggest fan too when I was there. So that was fine with me.
That's awesome. I just think it's super cool, a cool experience to play, it's such a high level basketball, but then, a team iconic as Notre Dame football, you're just you're on the sideline, the guys, you probably, interact with, it's cool to kind of have that in and see that other side and be, while you're a superstar for basketball, it's fun to almost be a fan for, your peers, guys who are right next to each.
Yeah, I say this to, a lot of people when I talk to, a lot of people would ask me, where else did you look at for schools, or what made you want to go there? And I literally went to one football game with my parents, and I don't know. It's hard to explain. You're on the side, like you said, you're on the sideline watching Notre Dame football, and I mean, gosh, it's 100,000 people, and there's people everywhere, tailgates, and you're like, I don't think it gets much better than this. So it was pretty easy for me to be like, yeah, this looks like the place for me.
That's awesome. So going into, you had mentioned earlier, we talked a little bit about, I always think about the holidays, all the holidays that become missed when you're playing professional sports and when you're playing, high level collegiate sports. You talked about St. Patrick's Day. I remember those times when you would be, same thing. You're hanging out for St. Patrick's Day and you're pissed that you didn't make the tournament, or you made, you're overseas and you have this great job with getting paid a lot of money and you're like pissed you can't go home for Christmas. Have you kind of had that experience? I mean, I don't know, especially this year with COVID, were you able to get home at all during the break?
Yeah. No, I mean, this year obviously it's just been, so different for everybody, right? But so no, I haven't been home. The last 2 years though, we've had like a short break, like in February, like, they have like the FIBA breaks, and when you get the schedule and the coach tells you have 3 or 4 days off, like that's an eternity. So
yeah,
both times I've booked a flight, didn't even look how much it was, and it's like, all right, I'll go home for these 2 or 3 nights, which were awesome both times. I mean, the flight coming back is always a little tough, but I mean, at that point, the season's so long, where you kind of get to February and March, like right now, you see the kind of the end of the road, it's summer's not too far away. You're kind of in that last stretch of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So those were really nice years. I mean, like breaks for me to get home. But yeah, Christmas and Thanksgiving, I mean, of course, are tough. You always want to be with your family. And luckily this year we've had just an awesome like group of guys on the team where both, the foreigners and the local guys, really get along. So I think, what did we do? Christmas, we had like just everybody over somebody's house, people made stuff, and it makes, it's not the same, and that's all you really want, to just have that kind of feel of, being together and celebrating. And I mean, this year that was good, but this year is kind of just like a toss up for everything, it's like you'll take what you can get.
Yeah. I remember I was in the D League, I guess the G League, and we had to leave. I remember that was when you were talking about the flight home. I was home for like 3 days for Christmas, and then we had to drive back, got back, practiced on Christmas Eve. Like I drove back Christmas Eve morning, practiced, and then immediately we took off to Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Christmas evening was spent. I had dinner at a gas station. I remember I was like, that was one of the, it was such a surreal feeling of emotions, because you're like, I'm playing so close to the NBA, I'm really made it so far, and you're like, this sucks. Like,
you're like trying to convince yourself, like, all right, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Exactly.
But nothing like a little practice on Christmas or Christmas Eve to make you feel good.
It really is. It does put it into perspective. You're just like, I was just in that gas station, like, what is happening? And I'm like, the same thing. You're kind of pep talking, like, no, this is, you're there, you're doing it for a reason.
Especially now with, at that time, like now with like social media, right? You're just like, we have so much downtime, so you're on your phone all the time, and everybody goes home for Christmas. So you're just looking at people's stories or whatever, Snapchats, and everybody's getting together. I try to just put my phone away for the talk to my family, talk to my parents, and then just I don't need to see that right now. That probably wouldn't make me too happy.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Is that when you were in the D League? Is that when you played with Matty Carl? Is that where you were?
Yeah,
okay.
That was, I think, my second year. Him and I were roommates.
Okay.
So, and then Matt I had another roommate, and then he left. He went back to South Korea, and then Matt came in. I roomed with him because he was with someone, and then he got picked up by the Bobcats. Like, it was awesome. You have that roll dog, like the guy you just like hung out with every day.
Right.
We went everywhere together, and then He's like, hey, guess what? I got an NBA contract, and I'm like, what the? Like, I'm like, that's awesome. But
you sure you want to take it?
Yeah, I was like, well, what about me? I'm in this apartment by myself now.
Man. Great guy though. He's awesome.
He is.
And he put together a heck of a career. Gosh.
He did. He was he really took off, and that 10-day contract, and it was the same. I remember that feeling, just being like, okay, it's a 10-day contract. He'll be back. And then it's like, okay, they took me for another 10 days. I was like, he'll be back. And then it was just like,
that's so funny.
And I'm going forever. I was like, all right.
Oh, there he goes. Damn.
Yeah, he's my friend. So favorite thing, or the thing you miss most, and this is a good question, or a big question, because I know there's, people don't know internationally, but South Jersey is pretty much its own complete territory. It's its own state. It's its own everything. Like you're a suburb of Philadelphia, but South Jersey has such a uniqueness that nowhere else has.
Yeah.
So what do you miss the most about South Jersey?
I would say just this probably leaks into Philly and just all of New Jersey, but just the food, I would say, especially the cuisine here in Lithuania is very different. But I mean, they do a good job. They have like a bunch of good spots to, Italian food, all this stuff. But I think that's the one thing whenever I go home is there's like 3 or 4 spots that within those first 2 or 3 days, that you're going to hit. Like, obviously you have your,
I was going to say, you got to tell us the spots.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
My number one.
You got a diner?
In my head, but I want to hear what you say, because I have a few in my head. I just want to hear if we're on the same page.
Well, my number one is, have you guys been to Paisanos? It's in Philly. It's like a little sandwich shop.
Okay. I have not, but I'm going to now.
Yeah, I think it's in, it was originally on Girard.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go like after school at like, when I was at prep and stuff like that. That's still for me like the best sandwich of all time. But I think they moved actually location. So that's number one. And then I'll get a cheesesteak from Chick's in Cherry Hill. Cherry Hill.
Yep. Whoa, I fell on my chair there. That got me so excited. My chair broke.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys been there, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think I didn't like hear about it or go there until probably 3 or 4 years ago. Like, I didn't grow up eating there or anything.
Yeah.
That's like the place no one knows it's there. It's like in an alley.
Drive by it every single day, like going to school, going to Philly, whenever. And yeah, it's literally like you can barely park in the little section, but that's number 2. Incredible cheesesteak. And then those are my top 2. And then I'll just hit like the basics, Chipotle and Chick-fil-A.
You got a Jersey diner?
I would have to stick with my local hometown Medport diner.
Yeah. That's crazy.
A block from my house.
It's crazy because I went there because I'm Freedom Dog Park.
Yeah.
It's like one of my stops with my 2 dogs, and so like I've hit there before. I'm a big diner guy.
I mean, you can't go wrong with it.
No, you can't.
That place. Yeah, I guess I haven't been there in a little bit, but it's still, I feel like all diners are still stuck in like this 1960s, and you go in and it's like, you know what you're going to get, and it's going to be the same every time. And
exactly.
It's perfect.
Elvis is playing on the jukebox, and you're like,
right. Every time my grandparents would like come over, we would, let's go to the Medport Diner. I mean, okay, why not? So, yeah, those are my spots. I would say you definitely got to go to Paisanos. They only have like, I would say like 6 sandwiches like on the menu. It's like written on a chalkboard. Like,
that's how you know it's good, when they only have like 6 sandwiches. Like, I don't want like 50 million things. I just tell me what to get.
Exactly. It's so, I mean, I remember, first time I went there, I was like, what is this place? But incredible. Definitely recommend.
It's true. It's like I would compare that to basketball. Like you have a guy who can do a lot of things okay, and then you have a guy who can do like 6 things incredibly. Like, I'll take the guy who can do 6 things incredibly all day.
Totally. For sure. So I don't know, what are your
I feel like,
guys, what are your top spots?
I feel like there's going to be a lot of Wawa, and I'm going to fight against it. So, is that one of you, John, Michaela? Are you Wawa people?
No way.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Well, you're out in Pittsburgh, so it's like like they don't have Wawa in Pittsburgh, right?
No, they have Sheets.
yeah,
and
sheets.
Gecko, and I tried them. I gave them a shot, and everyone's teasing me like, "Oh, being from New Jersey is your whole personality." I'm like, I can't help it if we got the best stuff. It's not good.
I like Wawa. I mean, it has what you need, but it's not my,
Any of you guys ever been to Nifty 50s? I guess it falls under like the diner.
I've never been there.
I haven't either.
They got some food. They got some chicken. They like do the homemade chicken fingers, right? It's like the 50s thing. They got like 50 different types of like sodas and milkshakes and like flat top grilled burgers. It's probably like what McDonald's and Wendy's like started out as, and then it just got so commercial. There's one in Turnersville. They just opened up a new one in Philly. I forget where, but it's like a small franchise. But if you guys are ever around, check out.
50/50s. Okay.
I'm going to date myself with this reference, but this was every time I went overseas, I would come home and immediately, this is the first place I went to was Fuddruckers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I
haven't seen one in years.
Seriously, they had the one in Voorhees and then it shut down.
That's down the street from my house, brother. Like, that's how I bought this house.
Yeah. I don't know where another one is. And that was like my shit. I loved Fuddruckers.
That's funny.
In Williamstown, New Jersey, which is
really
like 30 minutes closer to the shore. We lived there for a little bit. And that's where I had it. That's funny. You said you dated yourself. I was like, no, I remember that.
Yeah, I was in grade school when I went there. Like, oh.
I don't know if that one's still there, but.
Wait, there's that. What's that, like, Jersey, Mr. Bill's? You guys ever do the Mr. Bill's, like, on the way down to 73?
Oh, is that like
Uncle Bill's?
Uncle Bill's, right?
Uncle Bill's.
Pancake House.
Pancake House.
Oh, yeah, that place is good.
Yeah, down the shore, yeah. Love Uncle Bill's.
Weber's. Do you guys go to Weber's at all?
Is that the one by Camden Catholic?
Drive in with like the roof.
Yeah. My
They're
old girlfriend used to work there. And I used to
one
get,
on
like,
30, right by
so much
our
food.
house, by the Lindenwald speed line. Some guy from Cherry Hill bought this old one. He's like redid it. He tried to open up last fall, but with COVID, he couldn't. Like, they just couldn't figure it out. He was like, I've never had a restaurant before. I just wanted to open up a Weber's, but it's supposed to open this spring on Route 30. Like basically real close to the Lindenwald speed line.
I think this whole conversation has made me realize that South Jersey is like really, really old. Like, why do we have a we have a drive-in movie theater. There's like drive up Weber's where you're like actually like drive up and they serve your food. Like everything is very
all stuck in the 1950s, I guess.
All diners,
Yeah,
like filled with like 80-year-old people at all times. All right, let's get back to basketball.
You can tell we're all hungry. Like, it's like
seriously.
lunchtime. We don't normally film at lunchtime, and everyone's like, I need a cheeseburger.
So, Steve, the cool thing that I know about your playing style, you are the kind of player that just goes balls to the wall. I mean, you are like 100% at all times. You're a great defender. You're a great offensive player. And when you get done a game, I always said when the way to really show if a guy, and I always use this in coaching, like the way to show if a guy's really working hard, like look at them after the game. They're like drenched in sweat. Their face is completely red. It's just because they gave every aspect of themselves every game. And you don't see that as much, but that's how you played. And I loved that style. And I feel like we're talking about old school. Like that's like a South Jersey kind of style. Like you played that old school way where you just never backed down. You just kept fighting. How has that kind of transitioned into, professional basketball where there's the clock's longer, there's more effort exerted here and there. It's more physical. How has that transitioned?
Yeah, I think playing hard and like you kind of just said, it's almost like I would be considered like a skill now, because I wouldn't say, I mean, not everybody does it, everybody is, maybe concerned about other things or they're focused on different parts of their game. But just from growing up, playing hard, it wasn't really like an option, you went out there and that's what you did. That's why you play. I remember, in grade school when, Kevin Callahan was my coach, and we would always do this drill in the beginning of practice called 8 minutes. And it was just 8 minutes running clock, no out of bounds, no fouls really. And you just played as hard as you can. And like you just said, like, you were dead after that. And I know that brings me back to, 13 years old or whatever you are in grade school, but that was just kind of the way, I guess, it was instilled in me with my younger coaches and my parents about playing hard. And as I got older, once you get to high school and to college, everybody's really talented. I think, when I got to Notre Dame, when you're a freshman, you're not really expected to do much. I know my expectations weren't that high as a freshman, to come in and, I didn't really know what my role was going to be, but I knew that one thing was, I was going to play hard, and you kind of try to do whatever it is you can do to get onto the court, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I think playing hard, doing the little things, maybe, diving on the floor, things that for me and things that, I was taught by my coaches like Speedy, my parents, and Coach Cal were things that kind of just came second nature to me, but were things that a lot of other guys really might not have done, or it just wasn't the way they played or grew up playing. So I think that's opened a lot of doors for me, just, playing that way. Especially, once you get older, it gets, I think, a little different. As, I got older at Notre Dame, maybe my role changed and there was other guys doing some of the stuff, but playing hard was something that kind of has always stuck with me. But then over here, I think it's interesting because, you're playing quarters over here. And I think a lot of my experiences has been, you're not going to play, 40 minutes, you're not going to go out there and be out there the whole time. So for the teams that I've been on, you're going out there and you're playing, 20, 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. So you're playing in those like 5-minute segments. And, you're still going to be tired at the end of it, but it's a shorter segment to kind of give everything you got. And, no matter what, I think as a fan or a coach and you're watching the game and, a guy could be 0 for 10, he could be struggling, whatever, but it should never, at least in my mind, right, it should never be a question of, why isn't he playing hard? That's crazy to think of, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like a lost art. And I think, going back to coaches, it's weird because we keep going back to South Jersey, but everyone I know from South Jersey had a good grade school coach.
Yeah.
You had Cal, like I remember if Tim Lenahan was in, he was,
yeah.
So I went to St. Rose, so I was coached by Tim, and then Crawford, you had Speedy Morris, and then you obviously go to Notre Dame and Mike Bray. Was it, you had such good coaches and then you start playing professionally. Was it difficult when, you're, I feel like because you had such good coaches, it was always like, okay, got it. Like, I'll do that. You know the game. When you go overseas, I feel like there were some times when I was just like, wait, what? And they would be like, here, go do this. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? And it was just like a very odd thing with like the coaches. I'd be like, oh, wait, huh?
Yeah.
It wouldn't really make sense because it's so different. Did you have those changes where you're just kind of like, wait, hold on, what do you want me to do?
It is very different. Just, I don't know, as a kid in college playing, I don't know what your experience was, but I knew absolutely nothing about European basketball. I couldn't have told you, guys would leave college, they wouldn't make the NBA, like, oh, he's overseas. But like, I didn't know anything about the league. He's just over there playing somewhere. So, my first experience over here I was super lucky because I played for kind of like a legendary coach, kind of like a Speedy Morris, but over here. And I guess this is my 4th year. So each year I've had, different styles of coaches, but I've honestly like learned a ton. Like, I think I haven't had a bad experience with a coach, which I know is rare, and I've been super lucky to have that. But it's pretty cool, I think, because the game is played differently. But basketball is basketball, but it is played differently, and just to like see like even like the plays and what these guys are seeing and different philosophies. a lot of the core things I think are the same from the great coaches, but and now there have been times where we've done drills or we're running nonstop, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? But for the most part, like even sometimes this year, like we'll do just new plays or things that I haven't like picked up, or just like coverages or something that we didn't do in college, because it is a higher level over here, that I'm like, oh wow, like I think it's cool that even as you get older and out of college, you're still, at least for me, still learning like a lot about the game.
Have you played soccer yet at practice?
Not soccer, but last year we played ultimate frisbee, and that was like kind of fun. But I was like, why are we doing this? Like, what's going on?
We played I was in Poland. We played a full-on soccer game. It was like 90 minutes. I played soccer when I was like 10, and I'm just running up and down. They were so excited. The score was like 30. You're just kicking the ball. There's like a goalie who has no idea what he's doing. So if the ball gets close, you're just blasting it. I remember that was the weirdest practice I ever had. I should have known something was up. I was like, this is very strange. And then we would spend before each practice, we'd go outside. We were in Poland. It was cold. We would go outside and run this huge grass field and then come in and stretch. I was like, couldn't we do this inside? Like, dude, we have the whole access to the gym. Like, why?
Why outside?
Yeah.
In Spain, I was on like a much smaller club in like a very small town. And when I first thought Spain, I was like, gosh, okay, it's gonna be pretty warm climate all year round, whatever. But we are like up north, and so the winters got pretty cold, and I guess like handball is like huge over in Europe, and we would share the gym for practice time, and we'd come in and we'd have to wait sometimes for the handball team to finish practice, and I'm just like, is this even a sport? Like, what's going on? But I don't know. Those are the funny things that I'm just like I try to remember. I'll maybe even write stuff down that happens. Like, they're just like great stories,
Handball was crazy. I do remember teams playing handball, and those guys would rifle that ball.
Oh my God.
I never saw anything like it. They're just like jumping and firing, and I'm like, God damn, like you should be a pitcher. Like it was such a weird sport, but I'm surprised no one got hurt. The goalie's taking it like directly off his head.
Seriously. Looks like a fun sport, to be honest.
It did.
I
don't know. Go ahead, McKay.
To play handball, like Duquesne had one, and one of the professors is on the team, and like apparently it's considerably easy to get on like the United States handball team that have like their own tournaments and stuff. Like, you only have to play for an organization for like 2 or 3 years to be considered like on the national team, and then you just sign up and pay your dues. But it's honestly harder than it looks. And I was like,
Kev, you're up.
What, with handball? I swear, there's things that I always said. I was like, playing basketball, like my dad and my mom were like, they'd be like, oh, you were a really good swimmer. Like, I was a really good swimmer, and I swam. And then they're just like, oh, you can, like, people were like, well, why didn't you swim? Like, and I'm just like, well, I think I did pretty well. But there's also like the thought about being in the Olympics. And I always think about that, like some of these weird sports that guys do, and they're like walking next to, LeBron and stuff in the Olympics, and you're like, what sport do you play? And it's like, oh, I play froth. And you're like, in the Olympics? Like, how did you get there? It's crazy.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We played a couple weeks ago. We played at Barcelona, and in there, like leading up to the arena, like in the corridors and everything, they have like paintings and pictures of the championships, and obviously they won a ton. For basketball, they won a ton, but just as many like basketball trophies and paintings and pictures of like celebrations were of the handball teams too. So I'm like, I mean, gosh, these guys, it must go like soccer, basketball, handball, because it seems like it's super popular. I don't know.
Could you imagine being, a handball player and like sharing a facility with like Messi, and you're just walking by Messi, and he's just like, oh, hey, we're equals. And you're like, no, you're not. I'm Messi, and you play handball.
Exactly. We don't know any of their names, but
Do you get into soccer at all over there? Being that that's
I
one of
actually
the
have, yeah. The last 2 years or so, I've just because I in terms of just watching sports, like that's what I missed, watching sports. And now I'm kind of into it. I mean, I started just watching like Champions League and
yeah
um, all those games, but now I have the like NBC and Peacock, so I'll watch like
yeah
the Premier League, and it's nice, like there's games on at like 8 and 10 my time, so it's kind of like you're finishing your day and can watch
yeah
sports. I can only watch so much TV, like
yeah.
TV shows, which I love, but sometimes I need a little break.
Yeah. I feel like that's the thing. Like, I only watch like binge watch things. Like even now, I'll like binge watch things or watch live sports. And
Yeah,
that's why when they're like, "Oh, cut the cord," I'm like, I can't. I need to watch and I need to be free to just choose whatever sport I want to choose. I couldn't like ever get rid of cable because it would
right.
eliminate. I don't want to search through 17 apps to find the Sixers game.
For sure, for sure.
Hard pass. So going back into overseas, you've had several years overseas. You've had an incredible career. We always ask guests, what is the place that you enjoyed the most in terms of the atmosphere, and what is the best basketball you've experienced?
Um, okay, so this is my fourth year and my fourth team. So I did 2 years in Germany, a year in Spain, and then this is my first year in Lithuania. And I would say in terms of like lifestyle and like living and food and everything, Spain is probably like I would say the best place to like live over in Europe. And it's funny because there's probably the smallest team I've been on with the least amount of resources, but I mean the people and the food is just, I think in Spain is second to none. I was like an hour from Madrid, get to go there, a little bit. And so Spain was definitely just a really awesome place to live and just travel around the country. I mean, that's the one cool thing, you play, your schedule is, you get to go to all the cool places, which I really liked. But in terms of basketball, it's definitely like where I am right now in Lithuania. Like, I knew going in like that they were, was it like a top club, even like in all of Europe, and getting to play in EuroLeague was kind of like my goal from when I started over here. But just in terms of like the facilities and, chartering flights and having, a weight room and a practice facility and pretty much everything you can need. Like, because my first 3 years, that stuff was, you kind of had to fend for yourself and find ways to get, your workouts in. And, that was just kind of part of the experience, I guess. And, but here it's amazing. We don't have fans, but the arena is like, I think 15,000 people, and they're super passionate about the team. And I haven't really experienced that yet, but it is super cold, like I was telling you, which is my only complaint. But the basketball wise and the competition, I mean, this is my first year playing in EuroLeague, and like I was saying before, like I didn't have a clue about European basketball like when I was in college. But I mean, the teams and the competition, like night in and night out in the league, is like incredible. And so many guys that people would recognize their names, playing over here. So this has definitely been awesome so far.
And I'm trying to think back when I was in Estonia, we played you guys. We played a few other teams in Lithuania with the like VTB, like the Baltic
Yeah.
League. Did Valtunis play for you guys? Was he on your roster? I feel like he played for one of those teams. I remember playing against him. He was a monster.
Yeah, I think he played. I don't know if so there's two like big teams, I guess, like Žalgiris and Rytas, and he definitely played for one of the two, I think. But yeah, he's probably, I would say, the best like Lithuanian player right now, or maybe Sabonis, I guess.
Yeah, Sabonis.
Sabonis. His Sabonis's brother is one of our assistant coaches, which is
Oh, cool.
which is pretty cool. He's a great guy, but Valanciunas, I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up, but he might have played for us. I'm not sure. They actually changed so there's now just like a Lithuanian league. Like I know like that league was like a combo, right? Of like Russia, like all these whatever countries.
Yeah.
But now we only play in like the European one and then like the Lithuanian one now too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like Sabonis. It was crazy because I was watching the skills competition yesterday. And I don't know why I thought this, but he went to Gonzaga. His dad played in the NBA. So I figured like he was born and raised in the United States. Like I just thought I knew he had the name and stuff, but I was like, well, Sabonis played when I was a kid. I mean, he probably was born here. I figured he was raised here, went to Gonzaga, and then I heard him talk yesterday. I was like, oh, he's got an accent. It was one of those things that kind of woke me up. I didn't realize. I just thought he was an American who had dual citizenship because his dad was, who he was.
Yeah, well, I actually had the same like mistake because I guess the dad is obviously like a legend. He's like the best player. Like he's one of the best European players like in history, but I guess he ended his career like in Madrid, like Real Madrid. So I think I could be wrong, but like our assistant coach, who's his other son, it's like fluent in Spanish, like spent a lot of his childhood in Spain too. So, and then Portland, because I think Sabonis played in Portland, right?
Yeah. I love it. Michaela, what we got for us today? Michaela, we do some trivia stuff, fun stuff at the end.
Love it.
So, Michaela, what do you got?
Well, just a couple since it's our St. Paddy's Day episode. It's a little milder than our other holiday episodes, but that's good because we're doing actual work and getting bigger. And it's like, people don't want to just hear us, bust on each other.
Kev's drinking. Let's all notice that Kev.
I know. I'm so jealous. I got stuff to do.
Here's what, and this is so I'm 40 years old. And I'm not playing basketball anymore. So I was reading a lot of stuff about, like I know Steven Adams, Big Steve from the Pelicans. He was, on the youth. He was a youth player, and kind of developing in New Zealand when I was there. So what he does now is he'll go and lift real hard, and then he goes to the bar, and they'll have like a Guinness waiting for him, and he pounds the Guinness. And then he goes to his other workouts, and it's like there's so much, there's like something with the iron and stuff. I don't know how scientifically accurate it is, but Jason Momoa, who played Aquaman, does the same thing. So I was like, F it, man. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm not on their level, but as a 40-year-old man, just trying to struggle to whatever scraps of youth I have left, I'm gonna try to just drink Guinness to make myself, big. And I'm sure it's going to backfire and I'm just going to get fatter, but at least I'll give it a shot. At least scientifically, I'll have that other piece of, variable of data that we can use.
It's not a bad guy to look up to and follow his nutritional plan. He might be the scariest guy in the NBA. So.
Exactly. That's what I was just like, okay, Guinness, I can do that.
If he can do it, I can do it.
Exactly. All right, Michaela, take it away.
Well, since you played for the Fighting Irish and St. Patrick's Day is coming up, I just thought it'd be fun to ask a couple questions you may or may not know, and we won't make fun of you if you don't know them.
Okay.
Dealing with people who travel a lot, it's neat to see how America associates different cultures' holidays and makes them all about drinking. But anyway, so Steven, do you know where the first St. Patrick's Day parade was held? I'll give you 3 guesses.
3 guesses, okay.
Philadelphia, or you just pick one. Philadelphia, okay. Boston, or Chicago?
Okay, I am going to go with C, Chicago.
Boston.
Damn, I thought that
Chicago goes hard for St. Paddy's Day with the river and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, I honestly was going to go with you as well. I was going to second that. because I just thought Boston was too easy. I was like,
Right.
Boston, yeah, everyone pretends they're Irish in Boston. So I was like, there's no way it's actually Boston. It's definitely not Philadelphia.
Not Philly. Chicago, I mean, damn, okay. 0 for 1.
Might be a thing because there's so many. There's like Irish and Italian people, and I feel like when people are from New Jersey, they're either one of the two or a combo. And so I just call it the Jersey mix. It's like you're the Jersey mutt. You're both, like, and so
Half and half.
I will say Scranton. Have you ever been to Scranton for St. Patrick's Day?
I have not, but a couple of my best friends went there, and they always talk about it.
It's crazy. It is like it's because it's a smaller city, but everything, the entire city is like completely nuts. I thought that was the most fun I had in St. Patrick's. I did have a good one in New Zealand, but like in America, Scranton. I'm not going to make it to Boston. I feel like there's just too much. There's too much. I just can't. You can't drink around people when you're tall. Because everyone wants to like fight you or put you down, and I'm like, what?
How tall are you? They'll ask you that how many times?
6'10". Yeah.
No one would be able to see, and some guy would be like, "Hey, do you mind like put my kid on your shoulders? Come on!" Like,
yeah. I had that at concert. Like a girl's like, I'm standing, like next to my girlfriend, and they like came up, and it was like when I was like in college, and they're like, Can I go on your shoulders? I'm like, what? Like, she's standing on the ground. Don't you think I would put her up there first? No one goes on my shoulders. I'm trying to enjoy myself. Get out of here.
All right, so Steven, can you spell, when you say St. Paddy's and not St. Patrick, can you spell how that nickname should be spelled?
These are
well, I'm going to start with ST, period. And then I know how I would spell it would be PADDY apostrophe S.
Ding, ding, ding. John putting a little noise. You got
I was going to say, that's a good one.
That's the authentic way to spell it.
Okay. Good.
That's good.
So this one seems easy, but there's like a backstory to it. So what color do people wear on St. Patrick's Day to show they're Irish or celebrating?
Well, you already said something where it seems like it's not green.
So is this a trick?
This is definitely a trick question. But it has to be, I feel like it has to be a color of Ireland, right? Like there's only orange and white if it's not green.
That's where I was going, white. Is it white?
It depends on the region you're from.
And I'm also saying because, Michaela, you're wearing a white hat. So I'm going to say maybe you had some like...
I'll go orange because that's what's left on the board.
Well, Stephen, you're right for specific regions in Ireland. So if you're like a nationalist, you're loyal to the government and stuff, you wear green. And then if you were like a rebel, when Northern and Southern Ireland were feuding, you'd wear orange. So it depends on the region your family's from.
The rebels, okay.
Yeah. Originally, this color was blue, though, to represent like the Holy Trinity and like knowledge and weird. Like, okay, that's not why anyone celebrates it anymore, at least in America. But no, Kevin, I was gonna wear I have like a shamrock bandana, and I put it on, and I was like, I look like a pirate. I think I was wearing like a green getup. Okay, so do you know? So the story goes, St. Patrick saved Ireland from the snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What in Catholicism were those snakes actually symbolism for?
Ooh, gosh. Tested my Catholicism.
I was about to say.
Hopefully my dad isn't watching. Gosh, I'm embarrassed. My guess would be like our sins. Like getting the sins out, washing our sins away?
That's a good one, but there was a symbol of the pagan druid priests.
Wow.
Patrick might have had a couple issues with because he was Catholic.
Okay, that was a tough one. That was like AP Catholicism.
Useless knowledge. Like I should go on like Jeopardy.
Yeah, some fun facts for you.
The pagan thing. So it's crazy because the pagans it's just like it's weird being that like my ancestors came from like the Nordic region, Norway and Sweden and stuff. So it's funny because I went to St. Rose, I went to Camden Catholic, I went to all these Catholic schools, but like my ancestors were all pagan, and it's like a weird thing. I just think like the history of religion is just wild and crazy. So it's a lot of fun, but yeah, I'm like people were killed because they just didn't believe in God. But that's like a whole nother story.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're not going to get into religious.
Not today.
Not today. Not today.
That's funny.
All right, last one. And where was St. Patrick born? Like, what was his actual heritage?
So he's not Irish.
Yeah, I mean,
Not Irish. St. Patrick was born in Germany.
Mm.
So he was born in Wales, which at the time of his story was owned by like the Romans, like the Roman.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he was English, but they had like Roman like ruling and everything. But just so funny because growing up, my mom was always like, St. Patrick was Italian. He just saved Ireland, and that's what we celebrate it. I'm like, you and Dad need to work some stuff out. Like, something's good. But like, yeah, that was my little trivia. But you did a good job.
I like that one. I like the last one. I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
St. Patrick. He's from Ireland. That's what I would think.
Final question: your go-to St. Patrick's drink?
It would just have to be a Guinness.
Yeah.
Or if we're, I guess, having a more fun night, we would have a car bomb.
Yes.
I guess that combines a Guinness, does it? I don't know.
It does.
Yeah. So anything with a Guinness.
Right?
Yeah, it's like a car bomb's like a shot, but it's like it's like a shot of Jameson, and then there's like, isn't there like some kind of Irish cream in there too?
You like Bailey's.
Yeah, it like curled it because I remember if you don't drink it right away, it like curls it at the top, and then you're like drinking and it's going down, and after you've had like 7, you eventually throw up on the bar. Not that I would know anything about that.
No.
That's what would happen scientifically. I mean, we're getting scientific, so. Steve, this was super cool. I really appreciate you hopping on today, talking South Jersey, talking basketball, telling your story, and talking a little St. Patrick's Day. This is super cool. We really appreciate it. We'll have to have you back on because this was a lot of fun. Yeah,
anytime, man. This was great. Next time, I wish I had my my green on, or my orange or white or blue.
Yeah, or your encyclopedia of Irish history.
Right. But no, this was great. So thanks, guys. I mean, I'll have to tune in to the next couple episodes, but it was awesome. So thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. We'll meet up at the Medport Diner when you get home. Awesome. Thanks, Steve.
Right,
we appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. Super cool.
Yeah, man. We're batting 1,000 on the themed episodes.
We really are. Themed episodes are a gold mine. Great call on the trivia. I thought that was a lot of fun. Steve's I like we said, we're all from the same region, same area. So having that commonality, I think, is a lot of fun. Talking a little sports, talking a little everything. Because people want to know their story. They don't want to know either the same questions like, oh, do you eat different food? It's like nice to kind of know their story and like their background and their history. So that's a lot of fun.
I like to see like the difference in like, depending on where you go, like Notre Dame's private Catholic school, sounds like he went to Catholic school before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just interesting. What kind of opportunities are different versus kids going to public school? Like, is it hard here? That whole like Catholic culture is really interesting. Irish culture, and
it definitely is. I didn't even. That's an interesting. It would be an interesting stat to see who. Just in terms of how successful, I know because LeBron went to a Catholic school, St. Vincent, St. Mary's, right? Yeah, so he went to a Catholic school. There's a lot of people I know who were super successful. I know the Catholic League in Philly, they produced a lot of good NBA players. But the public schools, that would be a fun little research project for someone to do. That would be like a cool college assignment. To be like, do your thesis on Catholic versus public school professional athletes.
Yeah.
But I don't teach college, or I'm not a professor right now. So
you'll get there one day.
I'll get there one day. So that's going to be my first assignment when I eventually become a professor.
I just think it's like ironic that the stereotype is Irishmen are really short.
Yeah.
On the basketball court. Should probably be a little taller to help. Just follows us every episode, short versus tall. But
Yeah, it's our constant. That's our constant. Well, this is a lot of fun. Michaela, thank you. John, thank you guys. Thanks, Steve Vasturia, for hopping on, talking a little basketball, talking a little overseas. And to all you out there, hope you have a safe St. Patrick's Day weekend. Obviously, it's not till when is it? Next Tuesday?
next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. But you can't really, we're really, this episode's on Friday, so we're talking about a Friday. This is when it's going to go down. Like St. Patrick's Day is going down this weekend. So you guys, stay safe out there. No one's drinking on a Tuesday night unless you have a problem.
Unless you're Kev drinking on a
Exactly.
What's today? Monday afternoon.
Yeah, Monday afternoon.
Separate.
I lifted before, so I had to get my iron in.
It's the Mamo.
See if it works.
Philosophy.
Yeah. Awesome. Great time, guys. This is Kevin Owens. This has been Overseas Famous Podcast. Later. Great time, guys. This is Kevin Owens. This has been Overseas. This is Kevin Owens, and this is his. Jesus Christ.
No.
No more Guinness.